Colleen Gorman here of Re-Indigenizing Minds, and today we will be going over planetary concepts with Roger Colty.
But this one's going to explain how these numbers fit into our universe. Well, I should say our indigenous universe, because I can't say our modern universe because they use 12. So I guess I'm probably right saying our indigenous universe. Maybe down the road they'll adopt this so they find out that I'm right. But remember I was talking about Mercury. And that's 13 times 9 is 117 days. There's Mercury. 117 days. In other words, back to itself. There's Venus. 585 days. It goes all back to itself. There's Earth. 364 days. All the way back to itself. There's Mars right here. 780 days. We're just talking about it. 780 days and it's back to itself. Jupiter. 397.8 days and then it's back to itself. Saturn, 378.8 days, and you go up, and Saturn will go all the way back to itself. Neptune, 367.9 days, and you go, and it comes back to itself. Uranus, and it's 366.6 days, and it'll go all the way back to itself. Pluto, 366.6 days, and you go all the way around, and it comes back to itself. And that's where I'm going to need help with researchers, because see these question marks? Those are the objects that are beyond, the two that are beyond Pluto. See, there's Pluto. There's the one object I was talking about. There's the two objects I was talking about. So that fills the planetary things, but I got to fill in these two blanks. So I need people to help me do the research to figure out what these last two planets are right here, or I shouldn't say planets, they're objects more correctly. So these two are for the question marks are for those two that aren't, known yet. But then we get to the moon. Why the moon? Because the moon has a 13 times 27, which is 351 days. And why is that important? Well, because when the moon, and you use that cycle, it can be used to figure out and calculate cycles of the eclipses of the sun and the moon, or in other words, solar and lunar eclipses are likely to happen every 351 days. So when you use this and it goes all the way around back to itself, there's more likely going to be an eclipse of the sun or the moon if it's in this cycle. When it comes back to itself, either the sun or the moon is going to be in front of itself. It might be the sun, it'll be a lunar eclipse. It might be the moon, and it's a solar eclipse. Either way, it's going to happen on that 351 days. 13 times 27, which is 351. And now I was telling you that even the sun is in this thing. There's the sun. Colleen could verify this. What cycles of days does the sun work in, Colleen?
It issues a solar flare regularly every 13 days.
There it is. Sun, 13 days. And what does that mean? That means that all of my planetary pizza, that this is the cycle of the sun as it goes through this cycle. It starts here. This is the sun going through its 13 phases. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5, phase 6, phase 7, phase 8, phase 9, phase 10, phase 11, phase 12, phase 13. And that's the whole entire cycle for the sun in a 13-day period as it goes through its cycle. So everything is laid out on these 13s according to the sacred calendar. And I hope that, by me explaining these, last but least, this number up here, if you take this 1,153,048 and you times it by that sacred number, 260 again, for the sacred calendar, it gives you 292,792,480 meters per second. In other words, this can calculate the speed of light. So not only does the calendar 260 do this for the planets, it even tells you how fast the beams of light are going. Boo! Man, that's meters per second. And with that in mind, I'm going to show one last thing here is well, two. Well, two last things now that I'm thinking about it. This is the layout of how the zodiac and the planets should really be according to 13. This is all the layout I was talking about. Here's the zodiacs. There's the missing one that should be in here that represents the underworld. And up here is heaven, and this is the underworld. In other words, up and down. Oh, Physicis, can't even say it right. I put it back in there because it has to be 13 zodiacs. The 13 objects in our universe, which I just explained right now, and how they all operate according to the days and the orbit of the objects that go through time. And that's C351 used to predict solar and lunar eclipses, 13 times 1 days, 20 days in zodiac for the sun. But basically what I just explained to you, it's just a chart on here. So now, 28 days per constellation for the 13 zodiacs. So if you use these zodiacs, and I'm going to show you, see the zodiacs that are 13
Yes.
zodiacs? I'm going to show the zodiacs. I think it was this one. Oh, wait a minute, that's not the one. That's the other one then. Oh, I had the wrong one. That's why it's here. I was glad I did. I needed part of my presentation. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
13 zodiacs.
hold on, hold on. Whoops. Ah. Sorry, technical difficulties.
Got it.
Yep.
Here's the planetary pizza of 13 with the 13 zodiacs applied to it. The 13 indigenous zodiacs were assigned numbers. They weren't given names like we use today. They were given numbers, not names. And the numbers go from odd to even and starting at 11. And then even numbers and ending at 13. In other words, 11, 9, 7, 5, 3, 1. There's the odd numbers. Even 12. See, there's Ozyphus, the underworld. Pleiades is up here, heaven. So you can see how it's laid out. So when you take the even numbers, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, and like I said, and ending at 13. And each of these are these zodiac starts with Taurus and 11. So you look at that at 20 days each. There's 28 days that Taurus is here, 28 days that it's in Aries, 28 days that it's in Pisces, 28 days that it's in Aquarius, 28 days that it's in Capricornus, 28 days in Sagittarius, 28 days in Ocypus, 28 days in Scorpius, 28 days in Libra, 28 days in Virgo, 28 days in Leo, 28 days in Cancer, 28 days in Gemini, and then you come all the way back to the starting point where it starts all over again when the Pleiades is directly overhead at midnight. And the underworld is directly down here in Ocypus where the serpent bearer is in this neck of the woods. And there's another interesting thing about Gemini. Has to do with possession of the equinoxes. All of the world cultures have stories of sacred twins, no matter where you're at. Whether you're in Rome, whether you're in Danae, whether you're in Mesoamerica, it don't matter. everyone has twins in their stories, but nobody ever wonders why. I'm going to explain to you why. The twins are really interesting because what age are we going into right now? Out of what we're going into, it's the Fifth Dimension song.
I'm not sure. Is it the
It's
the age of Aquarius?
Yeah, Fifth Dimension. I give you a big yeah. Oh man,
Okay,
you listen to
Fifth
classical music or
Dimension.
what?
Sorry.
Anyway, over here, I'm gonna show this over here. See, this is Aquarius, where what I was trying to hint around Colleen about. This is the next procession of the equinox that's going to happen in 26,000 years, which is not unusual. Okay, now I'm going to explain why twins are in everybody's stories globally. Or, well, there's even in Egypt, there's these things that have 4 little things that they think are these energy machines, but they're really talking about this. What they're talking about is when the world began 520,000 years ago at the beginning of time. And how do I know that? Now watch this, Colleen. Put this thing here where I'm on with Aquarius. There's 4. Now watch. We're in Pisces right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, now watch. 1, 2. That's another procession before that. The one procession equinox before that one, Taurus. And for procession equinox that happened before that one, Gemini. And what's that Gemini? Where everything began. And what's that Gemini? Sacred twins. Class over.